Good afternoon, everyone. And once again, a warm welcome after the thrilling two sessions. We had two panel discussions and they were received very well. The panelists discussed about new requirements in the pharma and food sectors. And now we have the third one coming up for you. And I promise you that it will be as interesting as the first two ones. Yes, we have a person who is going to lead it as a moderator and who is actually a well-known in this industry. I'll introduce him a bit later, and also some experienced people. But before we get into the panel discussion, we have our gold sponsor, Tecumseh, making the presentation about their sustainable refrigeration solutions. Can I have the slide for Mr. Hari Nagendra Prasad, please? Yes. So Mr. Nagendra Prasad works as Senior Manager, Product Management and Business Lead MX, Tecumseh Products India. He has done is designing in compressor rack refrigeration systems for supermarket and industrial applications. He has worked with various gas applications like R404A, and I also performed reliability and performance testing for refrigeration compressor with R134A. Worked with various, again, refrigerant 600A, R600A, and has been designing and executing banana ripening rooms of multi-tire and floor loading ripening chambers. He has also exposure to European markets and has hands-on experience in commercial refrigeration space. So he comes with a lot of experience in this particular sustainable refrigeration solution space. And now I would request Hari to take over. Over to Hari. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Rajan, for introducing, and a warm welcome to everyone. Today, we are going to speak about sustainable refrigeration solutions that we are offering from Tecumseh, and how important these are with respect to upcoming context of market and evolution in cold chain. Before to do that, just a brief of Tecumseh. Tecumseh is formed in the year 1934, and if you could look at the various chronological events on the importance scale, in 1937 we developed the first hermetic compressor, and in 1954 we started our operations in Europe, 86 in Brazil, 90 in India, and from there onwards, from the year 2015 to 2020, we have launched various exciting commercial refrigeration products, including innovative line of DC powered master flux range of compressors and commercial refrigeration condensing units. Giving an overview of our global presence, if you could see, we are present on all 4 continents, and basically orange circles represents our corporate offices. Black circles are representing our operations, and the greens are with our wholesalers and our distribution points. So we have a wide distribution network and presence across the globe. Our headquarters are located in US Ann Arbor. In India, we have our compressor business unit located near Delhi, that is Faridabad. And in Hyderabad, we have an exclusive cold chain oriented condensing unit facility in Hyderabad in south of India. On topics of segments and markets where Tecumseh is present, we can see that Tecumseh is present in all cold chain, right from day-to-day light commercial and commercial applications, starting from supermarket refrigeration solution, beer fountains, restaurants, food processing, and then air conditioning and heat pump. And at the bottom of the slide, if you could see, these are mobile DC-based power refrigerated applications such as EV cabin air conditioning, last mile delivery, refrigerated standalone DC container refrigeration solutions. Looking at the key drivers and trends and challenges that we have in cold chain, coming up with the context that we'll see. the EV vehicles in next 5 to 10 years, will witness that all the internal combustion engines are being shifted to EV vehicles, which are primarily powered by lithium-ion battery backup. So we have some challenges where in kinds of last mile delivery, where it is being delivered to retail and distribution change. One of the challenges that the EV vehicles and segment is facing is the battery life. Second is the transport refrigeration solutions for last mile customized deliveries, which can work on DC power. Energy efficiency, as most of the industry, we are focusing on this, even including small and light commercial applications like deep freezers are being regulated by star labeling program in India. So there is an increase in energy efficiency levels, which are updated once in 2 years. And temperature control, which is very important, with upcoming food processing, preservation, vaccine, and cold chain that is being, vastly developed in India as we move on. There is a need of reliable and robust commercial refrigeration solutions. So we'll see in the coming slides how the last mile delivery sustainable solutions are available. One of the things that we are witnessing is there is an increase of e-commerce in food delivery. We are seeing Swiggy, Zomato, wherever we have recently seen some of these being listed in stocks. There is a lot of upbeat on these food delivery, last mile delivery, frozen and fresh. Some of the challenges is like, these last mile deliveries have to be delivered in custom lot sizes, which are not of truckloads, maybe of small 500 liters to range from 3 cubic meters. And one of the things that we are hearing from the market is that to ship out this kind of lot of customized lots into big, large refrigerated trucks, shift of internal combustion engines to EV vehicles, that means you need to have a reliable, efficient, robust systems that can be powered on DC powered or lithium-ion battery backup, and delivery location within the city, so that makes the vehicle to be compact and can be maneuvered into different areas in the city at them, and have the battery backup to deliver to go back and forth. If you look at the current scenario where the temperature control in terms of vaccine distribution, the temperature control is also important in last mile delivery. It can affect, actually, if you don't maintain them at particular temperatures, it can reduce the efficiency of vaccination, and it can contaminate, and it can inactivate also as well. So what are the different challenges in last mile when we are coming to vaccine delivery? Is that you have to maintain the temperature at all stages, right from the manufacturing locations, be it in air mode or road mode or ship mode, right up to the primary healthcare and to the customer. It needs to be stored in a particular temperature. The different challenges that are there, like at certain storage stages, there could be some of the limited power option there. You can have only grid power, or in some ways where you don't have a grid power. And different ambient temperature, we have wide variety of varying temperatures across the locations. There could be different shipping quantities, as we discussed, could be more, could be less. But in order to have these things efficiently controlled, we need to have kind of a last mile reliable systems which can operate on standalone or independent of the grid power or power that is required to power these solutions. So coming back to those solutions and the needs of the last mile delivery, we could look at the compressors that are available and solutions that are available with us for this kind of challenges. We have master flux DC powered electric compressors that can run on a lithium-ion battery power pack, and can be able to meet these challenges for the last mile delivery. For example, if someone wants to ship out the 5 cubic meters for 0 degrees centigrades and or 3 cubic meters of frozen products up to minus 25 degrees centigrade, this is possible through EV electric compressors that can run on DC compressors. Then the efficiency of these compressors are high. The reason being they are of BLDC motor technology. So that means there is no loss of energy in transmission or in conversions from AC to DC. And the variable speed technology of these compressors allows you to optimize the battery power that is drawn for the application. That means you will have more battery power backup to delivery traction power, as well as cover more mileages and increase battery life, and also reduce the temperature losses because of the ambience and because of the door openings. These capacities can be moduled by varying the speed of these compressors. Another thing that I've discussed in front is that while we are witnessing the EV vehicle transition, one of the things that we are looking is that since the battery is being extensively used in these applications, one of the studies shows that if the battery pack that is maintained in these EV vehicles are not controlled in a temperatures, let us say about 30 to plus or minus 2 degrees centigrade, there could be a rapid reduction in the battery life or the performance of the battery. The both are detrimental to the whole cold chain or whole delivery chain. So to address those needs, actually, we have right from air-cooled battery thermal management systems that can really keep your EV vehicle batteries cool and perform at an optimum life cycle. Right, and we also have a liquid cooling systems for high powered. For example, typically for a three-wheeler EV, which has about a payload of close to 1 ton to 1.5 ton, that has about close to 10 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery pack, where we have the solutions of liquid cooling, which can manage the battery temperatures of 1 kilowatt through cooling capacity, and to the highest of 15 to 20 kilowatts or 30 kilowatts, we do have the solutions 4.5 to 5 kilowatts that can maintain the battery through a glycol circulation, which can maintain the battery temperatures of 30 to plus or minus 2 degrees centigrade. Thus, these are the solutions that can improve the efficiency of the battery and the life cycle of the EV, coupled with our solutions on the last mile delivery, where you can deliver fresh and frozen products in small and customized lots. And the variety of options are available from right from 12 to 600 volts DC to choose. Coming to the other topic that I have spoken, wherein the energy efficiency is of the prime focus in today's scenario. Most of the commercial applications such as dispensers and ice cube machines, deep freezers, which are working on 134A. And when you compare those performances with respect to the next refrigerations that are available for these applications, the R290, the energy scenario and the energy consumptions are pretty good. You can see the comparison which is done on a dispenser that is working on 134A based. You can see almost there are about 22 to 25% energy efficiency when compared with the 134A refrigerant. At the same time, there is a more output on the ice as well. So that gives the benefit and the transition to shift over to these refrigerants. While we do have the challenges on the flammability, but there are enough certifications and safety guidelines that are being followed by manufacturers, which will give us a robust roadmap. Thus, we will also reduce the operational costs and as well as efficient energy that is being consumed by these applications by moving to R290. Similar, when we have seen an application performance comparison on ice cube machines, we were seeing about close to 18 to 21% in COP, whereas the cooling capacity is increased by 18%. That means we have more output for the similar capacity with working for the different refrigerants. Looking at our compressor portfolio, where we have for these solutions of R290, we have energy efficient fixed speed and variable speed intelligent cooling systems that can deliver and optimize the efficiency and the power required. We have right from TH2 that can go up to 500 liters deep freezers, and right up to AL that can cover up to 3-door, 2-door reach-in where you can use for the low temperature and medium temperature applications. VTC is what you are seeing, where this is of variable speed and with intelligent cooling systems that can be optimized for our entire platform needs of you. One can use the same compressor for different cabinets by using the variable speed technology. Thus, you can reduce the number of skids that you need to buy, and you can offer the standardized platform with higher efficiency while you shift over to R290. Coming back to the solutions that are present across the cold chain, right from the procurement to the retail, you can see from farm to fork, there are several steps in the cold chain where you can produce that requires pre-cooling or storage systems, processing facilities where you are trying to store, process, grade, and then shift them to the refrigerated warehouse or distribution centers. Then it is being transported to the proximity or the last stage where to the retail systems. Now, with the emerging trend, with the e-commerce and the last mile delivery solutions, these are also being added to the part of the cold chain, which is being witnessed from transition from internal combustion engine vehicles to electric vehicles. So right through the cold chain, if you see the cold rooms, process cooling, or you can say blast freezers, pre-coolers, cold rooms, we do have the solutions that can fit into the different cold chain stages where the product is delivered. The products that are ideally suited for the cold rooms that we have from Tecumseh Global Condensing Unit platforms, we do have indoor and outdoor condensing units, right from 1/4 horsepower to 30th horsepower in variable speed, receipt, scroll, and semi-hermetic technology. The most important ones that we do manufacture in India and Europe, we can see in the highlighted one is in India is PAC, that in the outdoor condensing units, and in the indoor condensing units, we do manufacture right up to our semi-hermetic range. So capacity wise on the range, you can see that for the medium temperatures or positive temperature applications, -5 and 43 ambient, we have a positive 134A, 407C, and 404A, as well as for the low temperatures, we do offer for 404A. So we do have the options that in receipt and scroll. Scroll is especially available for the medium and high temperature applications, while recipe is available for both high and low temperature applications. A view of our PAC3 range that is available for Indian market. We have mini, small, medium, large, and extra large platform. And in the platforms of medium to large and extra large, we have scroll as an optional technology along with the receipt, which can be used for supermarket, cold chain, or cold rooms, which can be easily installable and can be easily maintained over the period. It comes in two variants. One is the fully built accessories. That means you have all the refrigeration components that are loaded as a part of the condensing units that will minimize your field maintenance or installation during the commissioning of the cold rooms or refrigeration solutions. You can see the filter dryer, high pressure switch, three-way service valve, solenoid valve, liquid receiver, sightless. All the components are included that are ideally needed for a commercial refrigeration system. While we do have in mind to see that there are more in tiering system, we have standard option where you have few filter dryer and high pressure, low pressure switch and service valve where you can customize based on your needs for different applications. This is on our outdoor condensing unit range. As we move towards, we also have a complete matching solutions on unit coolers with respect to the outdoor condensing units that we have discussed in the previous slides. The range is from 2.5 to 57 kilowatts on high temperature, and a similar range from 2.4 to 30 kilowatts in low temperature range. While we have 4 mm, 6 mm spacing for the low temperature cycles, And these are coming with electrical coils and drain pan heater that are ideally required for a low temperature freezer rooms that have defrosting challenges. We do also complement our complete range solutions with the semi-hermetic range. As we move for the higher capacities, we do have for 10 and 43 kilowatts, right up to 5 to 19 kilowatts. So these are the solutions that we do develop and offer for the cold chain, along with the last mile refrigeration solutions. Thanks. That's all. If you do have any questions, we can take it on.
So, Akash, yeah. Saloni, are there any questions?
Just one question received just now, so I'm forwarding.
Okay, so maybe we can have that question answered, Hari, in another 1 or 2 minutes.
Yes, I'm okay.
Have you received the question? Saloni, please send it to Hari.
Okay, this question is for Team Ishre. Just wanted to reconfirm that we would be getting a recorded version of this virtual conference or not. So it is not for particular this.
Okay, fine. So we'll take
Yeah.
it offline.
Yeah.
We'll reply to that a little later. So thank you, Hari, for making a good presentation and making a good start. So thank you so much, and also thanks for supporting this particular event. And we look forward to be associated with Tecumseh. Excellent presentation of the history and the kind of new innovations that you're bringing into the market. Yes, and all the best to your future endeavors. So thank you so much. So with this, now I think let's move on to the next, I would say, session, which is there. Can I request Akash to share the slide? Yes. So now we have the next panel discussion, which will be conducted by one of the most accomplished person. I think their name itself is synonymous to the cold chain industry, Mr. Suranges. And I have the pleasure to introduce Mr. Harshal Surange today, Director and CEO, ACR Project Consultants Private Limited, with a rich experience of more than 21 years in this cold chain industry. Handled more than 300 plus cold chain projects. Chair of ASHRAE RAL Refrigeration Committee, member of IIAR. He is also empaneled with World Foods Logistics Organization and ADB, Asian Development Bank, as a cold chain expert and consultant, and worked with on various projects across the world. A recipient of the Briar Award, Emerson Cup for Refrigeration Design. One of his, I think, project also received the best green cold chain solution, to name a few. So, Harshal, I don't think needs any introduction in this particular, I would say, refrigeration sector. But yes, as a formal introduction, we need to do that. And I think they have done a great service to this industry, both the father and the son. And we really look forward to him moderating the session today. Over to you, Harshal. Thanks for being the moderator for today's session. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rajanji. It's indeed a pleasure to be here, be on this platform. I hope you all can hear me.
Yes, yes.
Okay, right. Thank you. So this is going to be quite an interesting session, at least the way I see it. The importance of logistics in cold chain, logistics sector in cold chain. That's what we are looking at, with a very specific intent of product safety, risk management, and safety. So to set the ball rolling, what I intend to do is have a small presentation on just cold chain itself. I'm sure a lot of you already know what cold chain is, but this is for the people who are looking at this sector as a new sector. So I'm sharing my screen for this. I believe you can see this. It's just a quick cold chain overview before we move to our esteemed panelists. So before I talk about this slide, I have to acknowledge Dr. Elhadi, who has been kind enough to share this slide with me. This very, briefly shows what any food product goes through as a cold chain. When the producer makes and creates something, and this whole line effectively talks about the cold chain, and which is the fresh produce pipeline, and what eventually comes out because of all these losses is something which is not exactly what is being produced. Now, the whole intent of cold chain is to make sure that this pipeline is mended. Now, when we talk of the cold chain, we don't really talk of just one particular line. We talk of multiple lines. I'm, of course, not going to be talking in detail on all of this, but very quickly to talk about which lines. One line is the simple cold storage line, which is either bulk storage or multi-purpose cold storage for products like potato and chili and so many multi-purpose dry fruits, vegetables and stuff like that. Then comes the pack house line, which is talking about the value addition in any fresh produce with cleaning, grading, sorting, pre-cooling, cold storage, maybe ripening, and down to the distribution center. Then we talk of the CA store, which is the controlled atmosphere store, where we are doing more than just cooling it. We are also reducing the oxygen content and increasing carbon dioxide inside the chamber. This is for products like apples and pears. Then we have the frozen line, where we have the cleaning grading. Then you have the blast freezing or the IQFs, what we all know of the plate freezers. All these come into this line where you quick freeze it, and then it goes into the frozen food store, and then finally to the DC or the final end. Then the pre-processed, which is products like ice creams, which very quickly go into, which come in from the factory as already frozen, and then they're taken there. And finally, the ventilated or air-conditioned products like tobacco and chocolates. These are kind of the products which go into this. Now, if you realize in all of these, this lower part or the portion in between is got tremendous amount of work to do for the logistics sector. And they are the ones who actually make sure that these products eventually reach in the right manner. And we are going to be talking to some of the big names in this sector. And once they have done their job, we have our mended pipeline, wherein what has been created by the producer is finally what comes to the consumer. So very short, broad outline of cold chain itself. Obviously, while I'm the moderator, I'm considering myself as half a panelist. So that's why I took the liberty of sharing this. We will move now to the panel discussion. Can we have the slide for the first speaker? Yes, our first person from the panel is Mr. Sunil Shetty. He is the President Business Development of J.M. Bakshi Heavy Private Limited, J.M. Bakshi Ports and Logistics, President Cold Chain Division. He is basically, we're very lucky to have him here. J.M. Bakshi Group is a very big group. I'm going to ask all of these presenters to really talk a little bit about their companies also, because everyone will get an idea of where we are coming from. This panel has got like they're coming from a very rich background. Mr. Shetty himself has been with J.M. Bakshi Group for more than 2.5 decades. So what kind of experience he has. He's been obviously part of the team leadership of the group. He's handled various portfolios, including international freight forwarding, project logistics, auto logistics, shipping agency, and cold chain logistics. And he has an excellent understanding of supply chain needs of key customers. So, Mr. Sunil Shetty, can you have a few lines and share your presentation on the company, and then we can move to the next speakers.
Thank you very much, Mr. Surange. I mean, for your kind words, and of course the very interesting interpretation of cold chain logistics that you shared with us. So, like Mr. Surange mentioned, I am from the J.M. Bakshi group of companies, which is known more for its international logistics, for its port, for its various ports and terminals, for doing project logistics, international freight forwarding, etc. We have recently entered this area of cold chain logistics because we felt that we could offer a more EXIM-linked cold chain solution to various customers to fulfill the needs of the customers who import commodities that require temperature controlled storage, and then they also require the same kind of quality in terms of storage and distribution to be maintained when the goods arrive in India as well. So we are trying to do that here here in India. And I'll just share a presentation. Of course, it's a little bit long, but I'll try to go through it pretty quickly. Yeah. So we are the J.M. Bakshi group of companies, and we are today a 105-year-old conglomerate, a group that is into shipping agency, into infrastructure creation, into logistics and technology. Okay. Our promoters, we are actually a fourth generation now. I mean, the Kotak family is a fourth generation into this business now, and Mr. Dhruv Kotak is our managing director. So these are the different container terminals that our company operates across India, covering the East Coast, New Delhi, and Kandla, and Mumbai, and the West Coast as well. So I'm just going to be talking about our first temperature controlled warehouse. It's in Sonipat. Now, if you see my previous slide, we have our terminal, our international cargo terminal in Delhi, and ICD in Delhi, and this warehouse is right across the street from this terminal. Okay. Within our within our cold chain division, these are the different services that we can provide. We also organize import in refrigerated containers into the port of Mundra or Kandla, and then rail transportation into our ICD customs clearance there, and then we move it to our warehouse, which is like I mentioned, just across the street from our ICD. So most of this movement, except for the vessel, the shipping vessel, is done and controlled on our own equipment. So we own a terminal in Kandla, we own the rail services, the ICD, and also the warehouse. So some of the strategic advantages of this particular location that we can see. So like, again, I was explaining, this is where the warehouse is, and this is on this side of the photograph. The green is the ICD, so it's just there. Again, this is Sonipat and the catchment area, the immediate catchment area of Sonipat. See? So I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, and so that, you know, if there are any questions, maybe you guys can ask a little later. So these are about the other divisions of our group. So we are also into heavy lift transportation. Again, a strong asset owning company that the J.M. Bakshi group is known to be. Our international locations and is still growing. So what, like I mentioned, we are, this is our first warehouse in temperature control warehouse, or this is our foray into cold chain logistics, but we are now coming up with the second one, which is next to our CFS in Navasheva, and we will grow on and build on more warehouses, which will be very close to the other terminals that we operate. So we will become a more comprehensive India-wide international cold chain logistics player. So that's what our company wants to become. So just that's it from my side. This is introduction. Thank you, Mr. Surandi.
Right, thanks. Thank you, Mr. Sunil, so much. Wonderful to hear from you and wonderful to see the pictures of your facility. I've been there so many times since, anyways, we worked together on that. So it was good to see the facility again.
I must say, Mr. Surange knows our facility very well, because he has been involved in the creation of that facility, of our first facility, and of course he will continue to do that with our other facilities as well.
Thank you. Anyway, now we'll move to our next speaker. Akash, can you have the? Yes, Mr. Pramod Pereira, again another distinguished personality, the business unit head of Mumbai Cargo Service Center Cold Chain Solutions Private Limited. He's been working with the Cargo Service Center India Private Limited since 2005. So he's been there since a long time. He has headed the quality department of Cargo Service Center and has contracts, corporate communications, and customer services in his portfolio. He was the project coordinator for the expansion of the earlier existing perishable cargo terminal at Mumbai Airport and the new project, which was commissioned in Feb 2020 as the Export Cold Zone. And incidentally, he is also in charge of the operations at the Export Cold Zone, Agro and Pharma Terminal at the International Air Cargo Complex in Mumbai Airport. Thank you, Mr. Pereira, for being here. We are again blessed to have your presence. Your insights into the air freight and that part of this thing later on will be great to know. But to start with, if you can just share a little bit about your company so that everyone knows the background of your company.
Thank you. Thank you, Harshal. Thank you for the introduction. And I'm honored to be here. Thank you to REFCOLD and team for having me here. So not wasting more time, let me just go quickly with the presentation. Like mentioned by Harshal, I handle and manage this terminal at the Mumbai International Airport. It is primarily an export-oriented cold zone. So we export a lot of perishable and temperature-sensitive products, which include primarily pharmaceuticals, and another section where we have for fruit and vegetable and perishables. So just to give you a brief of the company, we've been around since 1995 initially, and we've come a long way from there. And right now we have our presence in the major airports at Mumbai, in Delhi, in Ahmedabad, Kannur, as well as Bangalore. We have cold terminals which we've been handling in Delhi and Mumbai and Ahmedabad for quite some time. I'm going to focus more on the Mumbai terminal because I am there. I was part of the expansion, like mentioned earlier, of this terminal, and we have this from the Mumbai International Airport Private Limited to operate till 2036. It's a small presentation, mainly a lot of pictures. Like I can to give you an idea what it is like, because pictures definitely give you a better idea. So we have this terminal, which is about 6,000 square meters, right, in the air cargo complex of Mumbai International Terminal. Like you can see this part here, the perishable cargo terminal section, the picture on top right, is for fruit and vegetables. We've segregated into two sections. And the one below where the trucks are standing on the left, below on the left-hand side of the screen is for the pharma section. So we have two sections. We have 12 truck docks, 6 each for each section. And on the topmost corner here is storage for 80 plus loaded ULD pallets. Now ULDs, for the people who are not from the aviation industries, are unit load devices, the one that you see there covered with plastic. They can take anywhere from 1 ton to 4.5 tons. So we have a capacity of close to 300 tons on the first floor. This is because we are in Mumbai, space is scanty and we built upwards. So this again is a temperature controlled area. We have 15 to 25 degrees in the entire 6,000 square meters. Besides that, we also have temperature controlled cold rooms, which are very important today because of the vaccine especially, and that's a range between 2 to 8 degrees. Some more pictures of our terminal. You can see the first floor storage, then we have the envirotainers. These are special containers, like you have the reefer vehicles on land. These are the reefers of the air. And then you have some of our staff pictures, our trainings, our cold rooms, like I mentioned, and the hoists that take the cargo up. All this in a temperature controlled environment. This is something which I'll also speak about later, but this is an app that we've developed earlier because like everyone knows, when you send cargo or you send a courier today, or maybe Amazon, which is very, famous with all of us, we use it a lot. We always want to see where the parcel is, where the courier is. And this is something that we have incorporated into our process as well as into our software. So we have an app called Turant, which not only gives you the real-time location of your shipment, which is in the terminal, but also the temperature, because since we control a lot of, handle a lot of pharma and vaccines, our exporters and shippers are very eager to know whether they are in safe hands. So we give them a very transparent look into their cargo with this app. It's a very simple app. You download it from Google, and all you need to do is have an available number of your shipment, and you can get exactly the stage and temperature your cargo is when it is within our terminal. So this is all from me for now. And as we go ahead, I'll give you more insights into this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Pramod. I think that was nice, short and sweet, but it tells you a lot about what the scale of which you're operating and the kind of work they're doing. Thanks again. Akash, can we have the slide for the third? Yeah, Mr. Nitin Kale from Sahyadri Farmers Producer Company Limited. He's the manager, farm operations. He's a very ground level person whom we have with us. He overall ensures the overall management of the banana category. He has about 5.5 years experience in this. And he's a postgraduate in agribusiness management. He's also assisted, of course, with his boss, who is also part of here, Mr. Rupesh. I'm sure Rupesh can always add in at any point. Rupesh has been with REFCOLD earlier also and has spoken. He wanted Nitin to get some exposure in talking to people, so we're glad to have Nitin here. So Nitin, would you like to first play the video?
Yeah, you can first play the video. Later we'll present the presentation.
Akash, can we play the video of Sahyadri?
I will share the presentation about Sahyadri Farms. Did you see the overall video? It's give the brief about Sahyadri campus. So Sahyadri Farms of the farmers, by the farmers, for the farmers. Sahyadri Farm managed by the and owned by the farmers aims to ensure fair equity to everyone while providing value to the end consumer. So we are the largest exporter of the grapes, and we have all regulatory and mandatory certificate to ensure the food safety throughout the entire value chain. We have different divisions, so we are providing end-to-end solution to the farmers, like from farmer facility centers, which include all type of agri inputs, weather stations, and soil and petrol testing labs. Everything we have for the farmers. Another division is the fresh fruits and vegetable, in which we are doing business for fresh imported and Indian fruits, and also for the Indian and exotic vegetables through the cold chain. And we have another division, semi-process, which include frozen, aseptic, IQF, and ripening division. And we have also value-added line for aseptic and hot fill juice, like ketchup, jam, and jellies. So I have told that we are ensuring end-to-end solution for farmer, right from plantation to agronomic consultancy, and also post-care practices of the product, which include harvesting, cleaning, grading, and everything. Still, it's attached to the cold storage. So in every commodity we are doing this practice. Generally, in fresh, we are dealing with grapes, pomegranate, banana, and in processing sector, we are the largest processor of the tomato. And now we have a different marketing channel and a different platform to sell the product, like export, wholesale, B2B, and B2C platform. So cold chain plays the important role in overall procedure to enhance the shelf life of the product. So we have ripening chambers, pre-cooling, and cold storage and pack house facility for overall post-harvest practices. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Nitin, for sharing. I have to say this, I have myself visited Sahyadri Farms, and it's an excellent facility. The kind of efforts that have been put in, the detail to which they have gone and created this facility is something really worthwhile. We will definitely be talking to Nitin as we move ahead.
Yes.
Now we shall move to the questions that we have for our esteemed panel. Before I go on to the questions, I just wanted to mention this. It so happens that we are on track 3. And we know that in India, there's a lot of importance to the number 3. We have Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, which is 3. We have even proton, neutron, electrons, 3. We have the Trishul, we have the Trimurti, everything is 3. It so happens that the number of panelists we have is also 3. So before talking much more on this, let me go to Mr. Sunil Shetty. We saw what your company does, and what I can see is that you've obviously entered into this cold space. What are the kind of challenges that you are seeing in terms of shipping, in terms of you are also into the rail transport. So how are you seeing this sudden growth that is now coming up because of COVID, because of all these new changes that we are seeing in lifestyle? How is it impacting your industry, and how are you gearing up to those challenges? Mr. Sunil.
So the challenges associated with COVID, I mean, obviously for the entire industry are well known. In the shipping space, so I mean, I'll try to answer your question in three parts. In the shipping space, initially, we had the challenges associated with a lot of countries having the COVID protocol, with the carriers had to follow in terms of when the ships come to the port, the crew had to be quarantined. They had to wait for that much. There was many number of days, and when you are actually dealing with refrigerated containers, it becomes an additional challenge. You know, when you see the ship that's coming to the port, but it's still going to take a week or 10 days to actually discharge your container. So those challenges. But more importantly, what happened immediately after the first phase of COVID was the Suez Canal blockage, which actually compounded the problems, which actually doubled the problems that were already existing due to the COVID surge. And so we had our set of challenges in terms of organizing the refrigerated containers that were required, the shipping space that was required for getting in the cargo for our various customers. Going forward, when the cargo came into the ports, I mean, in spite of the fact that we had our own rakes with our own power packs, I mean, that's one advantage that we bring on our table. In the initial phases of the first phase of COVID, the staff, the problems related with the staff in the various ports, including the customs personnel, they are being present, absent most of the time. So those kind of challenges were there, but it's like we had the strength and the wherewithal to actually overcome those because of the size of our group, our experience, etc., and our international connections. But obviously, we had a very difficult time in the initial phase of the COVID stuff.
And how do you see the rail sector coming up in terms of coal transportation? Is there a movement in India on that front? Do you see anything positive?
Yeah, the biggest challenge in I mean, when we talk about refrigerated rail transport, will be the availability of the power pack. So the issue is that if you are going to get in a container having one, or if you're going to if you're going to have to move only one container on a rake, that's going to be a challenge at any time, because the economies of scale, they do not add up. So it's a chicken and egg situation. We need to have the volumes to have an effective rail transport network. So what we are seeing right now is we are having a lot of consignments which come in with one or two containers, but we still have to move it on our rakes, which we do because we own rakes, but it's always not the most cost effective solution for us. But going forward, I see a lot of improvement in the imports of commodities such as exotic fruits from various countries, certain types of food products, etc., that are coming in. So we are definitely going to see a huge increase in the volumes. As far as our group is concerned, our ICDs, as we develop, we will continue to keep connecting them with our own rakes and our own rakes, our own power packs, etc., into our ICDs. So we are expecting a huge improvement with imported foodstuffs, and on the other hand, like the exports of certain foodstuffs and fruits like bananas, we are seeing a huge surge this year in that. So we are seeing a lot of scope for our rail services also in the temperature control segment.
Great, thanks for those inputs. I will move to Mr. Pramod Pereira for a similar question, since they are mainly into air. Your company is mainly into air cargo. how has your experience been over the last 2 years? Obviously, these the blockages that were caused by this Suez Canal thing probably may have helped air cargo to a significant extent. What was your experience in that, and how are you looking at air cargo moving up into the cold chain? Let us know your views, Mr. Pramod.
Yeah, Harshal. We have been positive. We've always been positive. First positive thing is that we have already created space even before COVID would be around. Like I showed you in the pictures, we have capacity of 300 tons of storage right on top. So we have a capacity, we built a capacity of close to 14,000 tons of pharma per month, and we can handle 9,000 tons of fruit and vegetables. We have that capacity even before COVID came, so we're looking positive. Yes, COVID was difficult, like Mr. Sanjay Shetty also mentioned, for everyone. Each one had their own process to carry at that point of time and struggles. We too did have our equal share of problems. The first thing was that, the line flights, what we call the passenger flights, were all immediately off because from the lockdown, all of that stopped. So what that translated for us is these scheduled flights were carrying close to 80% of cargo that moves out of at least the Mumbai terminal. So all that was stopped, and these were scheduled flights. So we knew exactly very much in advance, every even probably a month or more in advance, what flight was on what date and how much it is going to carry. So that planning part was always available to us. The second impact was, of course, the COVID itself. People were scared. There were lockdowns in various areas. Staff movement was difficult. Trains in Mumbai shut. So movement of staff was a challenge. And getting the right number of staff on duty for the shift, for each shift was a challenge. Besides that, the aviation industry then resorted to freighters, the air freighters, which carried only cargo, and a few repatriation flights that were allowed by the government. So those were available to us, but again, those were non-scheduled and they were very erratic with timing. So we had a lot of difficulty in figuring out which flight is going to actually come on which day and how the cargo is going to come. Trucks that fed cargo to the terminal were again, either on time or very late because they had lockdown, they had to deal with their own problems. So everything was like a haphazard. We did not know when, what was going to happen. We had to be prepared for the worst. And it was very difficult to plan our resources at that point of time. So that was one of the biggest challenges that we faced. And fortunately, our terminal didn't shut at all. And looking back at the initial part of maybe April, first 6 months of the lockdown, we did more tonnage that we had done the previous year at that point of time with respect to pharma. So there was a need for pharma at that point of time, and there was a huge movement of pharma at that point of time through air because it was critical, and the time that was there for the pharma to be transported from here to wherever the end destination was very short. So air was the best option at that point of time. So we did manage a lot of to do a lot of tonnage, but yes, we had a lot of stress during that point of time. Well, that was the struggle part of it. Looking ahead, we still have the line flights which are not yet started fully. They are only operating in the bubble area, which is again, just about 20 to 30% of the total carriage of cargo, which again, 80% is still moving on charters, more or less in an organized way. Though we do have some of on scheduled charters coming in, and we do manage that. So we're looking at a growth, yes, over a period of time, hopefully with the airlines restarting and introducing more flights slowly, we should be doing well. Of course, the problem with the Suez Canal, the evergreen that was stuck there, that did give us a slight surge, but we've not seen a very, very drastic change. But yes, I understand that TUEs are not available right now for the shipping line. So there are a little bit more critical farmers that can't move by ship that are moving with us. So yes, it looks positive to us.
Okay, and in terms of, sorry, please.
Yeah, another thing I'd like to mention here is the vaccine movements that were required. So we have close to, I think, about 80 million doses that have moved from our terminal of the COVID vaccine that we've been doing right from Jan initially, and then later on it was stopped for some time for the vaccination of the local people of India, and then again it's recently started. So we moved more than I think 80 million doses, and plus close to 30-40 million domestically the airport has done to move it around India itself. So we've seen a surge there. Definitely that's going to stay, because the government has now opened a movement of vaccines to be exported to other countries. So that's another addition to the volumes that we expect in the next maybe months to come.
Okay, great. One quick question about the facilities. What kind of facilities do you really need to be on the ground to be able to sort of operate your air this thing? Do you need large warehouses? Do you need more of pack houses? What kind of facility do you really need at ground level for your kind of work to function effectively?
Yeah, so we do form a small part, but an integral part of the supply chain, like you've shown us in your initial slide. And it's pretty critical and important for us in that point of view, because we actually interact with the shipper, or rather the exporter in case of the product, the forwarder who actually handles that paperwork and moves the product, and the airline itself. So we are that point where all three come together and all work together. So it is definitely a group effort and a team effort that works there. But with respect to the kind of facility that you require at the terminal, a pack house would not be ideal because it's not close to the catchment area, so it doesn't make sense having a pack house. Having a lot of space would actually be proportionate to the kind of commodity that you're actually moving. So we have two sections in our terminal, just to explain what we do. We have a perishable section which moves fruit and vegetables. We have hatching eggs, we have fish, we have meat, we have some exotic vegetables that also move, that is exported. And this section is comparatively smaller than the pharma section. So we have around 2,000 square meters allocated for perishable, and we have 4,000 square meters allocated to the pharma products. Now, this is very simply because the perishable nature of the fruit and vegetable is very high as compared to what we have for pharma. The pharma has a dwell time at around maybe 1.5 to 2 days at the most in the terminal. Perishable product hits our dock at 00 hours, and in 8 hours max, it is on a flight. So that's the speed of movement. We don't need to actually even store it. It comes, it is cleared, screened, weighed, palletized, and is off to destination. Because the logic here is that the fruit and vegetable have to be on the shelf of Tesco or maybe a Sainsbury, wherever it is going to be sold at, in not more than 24 hours. Or the value of the product, as you know, would not be good for sale, and you lose out on your revenue, or the exporter loses out on revenue. So the speed and the dwell time of perishable is much less. So here you would require less space. But in a pharma, you would require storage, because you're looking at pharma going in freighters, and you're looking at it being there for 1.5 days. So you require to store it probably for some time, maybe a period of 24 to 48 hours at the most. And then that space would be required much more. So that's the space kind of thing. The second is the temperature. Yeah, the temperature for fruit and vegetable varies. We have 15 to 25, and we also have 2 to 8 for some exotic vegetables that require it. So we manage that also. The exotic vegetable is a small percentage, so we do not have a lot of chambers dedicated to perishable. But in the pharma, yes, there are vaccines that are there which require 2 to 8 degrees. So we have about 150 square meters of space, which can take up to 180 tons of 2 to 8 vaccines, or 2 to 8 cargo for the pharmaceutical products. So that storage is made available, and again, that doesn't stay for a very long time. Like I said, maybe 48 hours. Vaccines is less, is 24, because we treat it like a perishable product. We don't let it be exposed to 15, 25 a long period of time. We try to get it off the truck, store it into the chamber, maintain that cold chain. It is very important for us because we treat every pharma shipment not as a box, but actually as life, because there is life in that particular medicine that's going to give life to someone at the other end who's actually waiting for a cure or healing because of this. But that's how we actually train our boys to, that's the training, empathize with the kind of cargo that we're moving. So they handle it with much more care than they would do any general cargo, any goods, or like chucking it down, or keeping it in a particular way that it needs to be handled. We also have an in-house pharmacist Now, it's not a regulatory requirement, but this is just a person who actually knows the product well, and she will impart the handling process to our team. So they will tell, she will tell them that this particular medicine is for cancer. This is for treatment of any cardiac disease. And then they learn to empathize with it and they handle it accordingly. So that's what would be the requirements of the terminal. In Mumbai, like I said, space is less. So we have gone up one floor and we've created a space on the first level for storing 300 tons of pharmaceutical cargo. That's equal to 3 freighter loads of cargo. So 3 747 Boeings. At any point of time, we can hold up to 600 tons of pharma cargo in our terminal. That's the capacity we have. And we are the biggest pharma handlers in Asia, the terminal wise.
That's great. That's super nice to know. And very, very happy to kind of get to know these insights, which we otherwise have never any access to, but to understand all these things. Thank you so much. Nitin, moving to you, since Sahyadri is doing so much work in directly dealing with farmers, you have people who are small farmers, you have big farmers. Eventually getting all that from the farm all the way to your facility, then value adding it and further exporting it. I think you're doing a lot of exports at your end, which is giving the real value to the farmer. So what is your input on all this? How do you take care of all this farmer related, on ground logistics that we can say? So what is your experience on that? What kind of challenges do you face? What kind of issues do you have in these farm level facilities?
Actually, everyone know India has the largest percentage of small and marginal farmers. So we get the scattered feed for every fruit, such as banana, pomegranate. If we have to cover the 70-80 kilometer radius for harvesting, so it's the huge difference between farm to pack house. So considering the costing, we are using both reefer and ambient vehicle for a product movement. It's lead to maintain the cut to cool time. It's difficult to maintain the cut to cool time during this scenario. So this is the main challenge we are facing. So already as a Sahyadri, we have started to form the cluster or FPO to create the cluster for each product. So already we started in grapes also, like pomegranate and banana. So we are doing whole operation in one place, so we can maintain the cut to cool time. And also we are using that if we see the inbound cost, logistic cost is higher. World standard cost of transportation is around 4 to 5%, whereas in India, cost of transportation is 10 to 15% of good value. Cost of inbound cold chain is too high for fresh food to the market. So this is the main challenge we are facing. If we see, we are using ambient vehicle for moment. Cost is almost 20 to 25% less as compared to reefer van. So most probably we see the scenario of the each commodity commercial sense. So we are getting the difficulties to catch the or match the costing at costing level. So this is the main concern we are facing. And we need improvement in development belt. Like right now we are doing banana operation at Andhra. So last year Desai had already used the rail that you already said, rail cargo. So they had already using that one. So this is good for fresh FNV category to maintain the long distance movement and to reduce the time and cost and maintain the quality. So need this type of improvement in reefer and that technology. So maintaining the temperature and humidity for product shelf life is the important parameter. So worldwide, we have to reduce the pre and post harvest losses. So we need well maintained cold supply chain.
Great. And your experiences about export, when you are exporting,
Yes.
Do you see any challenges on the export front, like issues on product getting rejected, or having the other countries having more stringent requirements than what we are able to give? Is that a problem in US that you find?
No, actually, what we are doing generally from pack house to port, or either till the customer destination, we are using reefer container. So in that container, we are putting the data logger to measure the temperature. Once container reach at customer destination, we get the all temperature data from container left from the pack house till reaches it to the customer. So we'll get the detailed idea about whole cold chain. So this is the important parameter for us. So we ensure the end-to-end temperature. So we right now we didn't face any problem with respect to cold chain, because we are using monitoring the monitoring the temperature, end-to-end temperature.
Okay. So principally because you are able to monitor, I think you are managing to do your work very well, and you're able to catch off. You don't find any issues in
no
unnecessary rejections or anything of that sort. Nothing like that.
No, it's nominal. It's nominal. In FNB category, we see 5% wastage, and that all things acceptable at customer end.
Okay.
So this is acceptable at the customer end.
Okay. Fine. So now moving to the key question of today, which is product safety, risk management, and overall safety. So maybe I could go back to Mr. Pramod, that you were talking of the monitoring, and since you are so much into pharma, what kind of additional requirements do you need for this whole concept of risk management and product safety? Any specific protocols that you follow, or how does it go?
Yes, of course, Harshal. There are a lot of protocols that we have, and a lot of risk management or risk analysis that has gone behind this. Like was mentioned earlier, I was part of the expansion project that our terminal, when it was expanded. The entire terminal itself is built on post-risk analysis. So when I say risk analysis, I mean there is a backup plan for every problem, or there's every issue that may happen. We have a backup for that. So let's start with this. Is that first thing is that the product or the commodity that we handle, one is fruit and vegetables, very highly perishable. Second, pharmaceuticals, perishable, yes, but also need to be handled in the correct way, because the efficacy of that particular drug or vaccine is subject to that temperature that it is maintained at. So it's like, vaccines, especially now we have COVID vaccines, they're not maintained in that temperature. At the end of the journey, they're going to be useless when they're actually injected into the patient. So yes, they are very highly effective if the temperature is maintained. If not, there is a problem. So because of this, most of the pharmaceutical products that come to us, or rather that are processed from our terminal, have this data logger in it. The temperature is being monitored. So what we did, like I was trying to talk about the app, is that we created an app which also gave you the temperature, not only the tracking, that the milestone tracking. The truck has come to our terminal, it's been offloaded, it's been screened, or the customs have cleared it. Now it's loaded onto a pallet. Now it's released to the aircraft. So those were anyway there, and they were being seen by the customer. But now we have given them an option. It's being stored at 22 degrees. It's being stored at 8 degrees or 18 degrees. So this is what they can see right now. It's very transparent. And this is probably the first time it's ever happened in the world that a terminal operator has given this access openly to his customer. We've done that. So, and to keep that in that status of good, we need to do a lot of backup risk analysis. So just give you a few backups that we have. Let's start. First of all, it's the power, because power is important to run our entire, refrigeration units. We've got close to 48 refrigeration units, each of about 30 tons. It's a huge cooling capacity. We have 3 levels of power backup. One is the direct power that comes to us from the agency. Second is the backup of sharing power with other terminals in the airport. In case our terminal is out of power, we can always share power with them. We have cables running in between and vice versa. The third level is 2 levels of generators. We have level 1 of generator and level 2. So anyway, if one of the generators backs up, we have another one. And of course, the next one is to call another generator from outside if required, but we haven't reached that yet. But this is the power backup that we have for the entire terminal. And when I say power backup, it is actually the entire terminal, including the refrigeration units, the required number of lights, the IT servers, and the temperature monitoring system. Everything is on backup. The second thing is, what happens if a machine fails? What happens if your the unit itself collapses or shuts down? So we have in each section an additional machine that is put. So if there are 3 machines, 2 machines can take for some time the strain of of one machine not functioning. Beyond that, the other backup is we got turnaround time of 2 hours. The technician visits us and sorts up the repairs the machine or finds a solution for that. Another backup for that is we have all the critical spare parts which are required once the shutdown happens. We know that this is normally the part that gives way and we require it. So we have a stock of that. So that is how we handle the refrigeration. Because if you understand that the medicine that comes to us is worth millions of dollars, and more than the money, it's more valuable to the patient at the other end. So that's how we look at the refrigeration part of it. Besides that, we have an in-house team for our material handling equipment, because we have a lot of it, handling so many pallets of cargo that are sent out. So we have an in-house team that is there 24/7, and there are checks happening every time. So we have multiple truck dog doors. If there are truck dog doors that are not functioning, there are 6 of them. So 1 is always, or 2 is always functional, if not the others. The weighing scales are in multiples of 2. Then we have the ULD loading weighing scales, which are available again in 2. The release gates are again available, 3 release gates at each end. So we know how, if 1 release gate is not available, then we have 2 other release gates. So everything is basically backed up. Besides that, from a certification point of view, we are certified as ISO. We have a GDP certification, and we have a CIB pharma certification, which is basically given by IATA. So all this is also very based on risk analysis. So our entire process that we do, even the documentation, the backup for our computers, is all on backup, which is on cloud as well as the server. So if one thing goes, we can remotely access it from another location. So everything is backed up. And risk analysis, yes, it's very important, because as I told you, product value is very high, time is very short, and the movement of cargo from the time we receive it till the time it is put onto the aircraft is very short, and we cannot miss a connection. So that's how we handle our processes. And
great. That's very good to hear. Mr. Sunil, do you like, obviously you heard Mr. Pramod, and what is your take on how this works in terms of the shipping or the road? Do you see this level of monitoring and control, or are there certain different parameters that you follow?
The monitoring and control, I would say, is quite similar in terms of the extent, and the also because the complication is because the modes are changing here in our case. We are going on from a ship to the port. I mean, a certain amount of time where the containers are plugged in the port, and then the rail, and then again at the ICD where the containers are plugged in for a certain amount of time, and then in the warehouse. So we feel that in our warehouse, within our warehouse, that's the safest place, because things are still in our control. But when things are in whether the cargo is with the shipping line or with a trucker, etc., that's where we have to increase the monitoring or the follow-up, etc. Of course, data loggers and the tracking mechanism is in place for us as well, but there is also a lot of involvement in continuous tracking all across, so that there is, because what gets recorded is what has happened already, but we have to ensure that these kind of temperature losses, etc., do not happen at all. So there's a lot of monitoring that goes in, even in the country of origin, with our partners, with our agents, etc. Interconnecting with their system and making sure that we give a seamless report to our end customer. So, these are my inputs on this. On the
Are you able to give live tracking of containers as they move on the ship? Is that a possibility technologically?
Not on the temperature, but yes, we are able to give them the status of the vessel. Not in terms of the temperature, not yet. No.
Okay.
That's something that we are developing, but not at this point in time. Yeah.
Okay, but you are able to tell them where the container actually
where the
is.
vessel is, where the container is, that we are able to tell them.
Okay, great. Nitin, when you look at your products at farm gate, what kind of additional measures do you take to ensure that the product is coming in good form? Because farmer as such doesn't really know much, about the protocols or anything. So do you sensitize them? Do you teach them? How do you take care of that?
Actually, we designed the SOP. Actually, we as already shown on this slide, we are certified with all regulatory and mandatory certification. So we have our standard SOP. We have to pick our product from field to farm. So we are ensuring the PRP, prerequisite program. Vehicle cleaning and hygiene is the important parameter. So hence we minimize the physical any biological hazard from the product. So everything we are ensuring at the field level. So company representative is available with that vehicle from farm to pack house. Or either we are purchasing from commodity from any other place. So we are following the same SOP. So like that, we are measuring the all operational prerequisite point and critical point at cold storage level also. At the time of arrival, we are checking the product quality as well as the vehicle. We are getting the all information related to product and vehicle at the time of receiving itself. So like that, we are avoiding the we are ensuring the product safety.
Okay, great. I think now we are more or less nearing the time slot anyways. We have a few questions that have come up. So let me go to the questions. Okay, first I think is not a question, but it's more of an interesting point from Nivedita, who basically has said that since we mentioned about track 3, there's another 3-pointer out here which says that road, ocean and air are also 3 which we are covering today in terms of logistics. So that's another interesting part that goes into. There's one question from Mr. Krishna for Nitin. Your work is very inspiring. What do you think is the future of farming in India? What challenges do you think need to be addressed so that small farmers all over the country follow the methodologies adopted by Sahyadri?
Okay.
A very broad question.
Yeah, I will. Okay. So agriculture, if we see the overall agriculture scenario, almost 70% population it's depend on the farming background. So as a Sahyadri, we are developing the each commodity according to their climatic zone. So this is the one of the best parameter. If we see the best suitable climate for the grapes is Nasik or either is Sangli in Maharashtra. So we are giving that type of input to the farmers and creating the FPO and group to manage the sustainable operation at field level. So if we create the overall agriculture in club formation, if we can say the cluster or FPO, so it's easy to handle overall back-end operations and easily getting the raw material from one point. And also we can set the infra like pack house, cold storage, and pre-cooling facility at one place if we have the one product at within 17 to 18-kilometer radius. So it will be easy access it will be more safer to manage the overall operation, end-to-end operation at field level also and pack house level also.
Okay, thanks. There's one more question. Before I take this question, I would request anybody of the attendees who has any more questions can just put them in the chat box and they would be directed to me. One question for Mr. Hari from Jamaluddin Khan. He is asking, this is actually more of a very specific question. Which machine or which brand and capacity do you test the ice machine? Can I get the contact details? You can answer in the same question. So I think this appears to be more like a one-on-one question.
Yep, we can discuss a bit on the email. In fact, I dropped in the message, but to the capacity, we have tested in about 85 to 100 kgs per day ice cube machine. And brand, we do not disclose because it's a tie-up with the customer. Right. But we can discuss more in person if he wants to discuss or get more details about the product. We are open. You know, we can give the mail ID info@marketing@rateofticumsindia.com. Can send it.
Yeah, I'm sure that can be done. So Mr. Khan, you can directly communicate with Hari. He will be available as part of the show, so you could go into the company's stall and get direct communication.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I think we are more or less running out of time and doesn't appear to be having any more questions. So any last comments now from the panelists? We could start with Mr. Sunil, the way we had in this thing. So any last comments?
No, I think a very, very interesting session. I mean, a lot that we also got to learn from the air freight side as well as from the actual manufacturers or the farmers side. So for me, it was a very interesting and learning experience. So thank you very much for making me a panelist here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pramod.
Thank you, Harshal. Well coordinated, and I must say it was a very interesting and especially learning experience to learn about Sahyadri as well as what Mr. Sunil Shetty had to say about his new cool warehouse, which they're just venturing into. And it's interesting. I think cold chain has a long way to go. We're still just getting started, and there's a lot of scope for it all over. Thank you.
Great. Nitin, before I move to you for last comments, I've just received a couple of questions. There's one from Mr. Rohit, how to manage all speci.to. I think there's something missing. Could you just rephrase the question, Mr. Rohit, and put it on the chat box so that it will come to me? In the meantime, we can take the other questions. Are the infrastructures better internationally as in developed countries? Are we talking of, I think generally in India, I myself would like to answer that question, is that in India, the facilities that are developed can very well be at international standards. In fact, I would say they can be better than international standards. But the real question that comes up always is the budget that goes into these infrastructures. So a lot of things that need to go into these facilities needs to be coming in as an expense, or I wouldn't say as an expense. It's a cost, and that cost needs to be borne. So if that are there, then definitely it is. We have international level facilities. We should see the facility. In fact, we should see the facility created by JM Bakshi itself. A very good facility, and it's of international standards. So I'm sure even those of Mr. Pramod would be of good quality because they're handling vaccines. So we definitely are at par with the world. I don't see that as an issue. It's just about the intent of the promoters who are doing it to make sure that we are doing a facility of that level, and we're spending the kind of money that is required for it. Okay, one more question that has come up is about again from Mr. Jamaluddin Khan. They are giving the training to farmers, but if anything happens to the farmer product before hitting the pack house, who will bear the cost of the damaged products? This is obviously to Mr. Nitin. So,
Yeah,
if there is a transit damage from farm to pack house, what happens?
So what we are doing, weight itself from farm. So we are bearing the cost of the transportation damage. So once we get the product from farmers, we are giving the weight slip from them. So we are paying the payment on that weight. So we are bearing the cost, and we are avoiding that damages, transportation damages also. Actually, we are ensuring our standard practices.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Since you are there, any last comments from you or anything from Rupesh? Rupesh is here. He was there in our last.
Yeah. Rupesh sir is no.
Hi, Arshad.
Hi, Rupesh. Any last comments from you? You've been there throughout.
No. I am listening. It is a very interesting topic for me, so I am listening. But it's a very good session as always. And I hope Nitin explained all the actual ground level operations, what Sahyadri does with the farmers, and from farm to pack house, and then from pack house to the consumer. Only one thing I just want to add, that we all know about the field heat of each horticulture commodity. And once you harvest any produce, either vegetable or fruit, actually you have to reduce the field heat as early as possible. So what Sahyadri is doing, or Sahyadri will do in future, that we are developing a FPO chain throughout the Maharashtra, so that it's like you can say it's a small pack houses at each level, so we can reduce the heat load immediately after the harvesting, and that will give you a better shelf life, and also it will avoid the wastages at pre pack house level. So you will get a good quality product at pack house, and then you can have a good facility pack house everywhere. So that field heat we can reduce, and we can avoid the wastages before pack house. So that is the need, because many if you can see the data, the losses are more from farm to pack house, not from pack house to consumer. So
Right.
on that level we have to work hard. Everybody has to work hard.
Yes, that's a wonderful idea actually, and that's something that can really help change the scenario of farming and pack houses in India, because if you're able to remove the field heat at the field level or very close to the field itself, it's going to make a very big difference, and we can really be the food basket to the world, so to say.
Yes.
We have tremendous production, and we have a tremendous potential. Now it's up to us to really convert it.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Rohit has written this: how to manage cold chains from farm to pack house. So that's pretty much what Rupesh just answered. That they are adding another level of cooling at different very local levels.
It's like a collection centers.
Yeah, these are collection centers.
Yeah.
Collection centers which have a facility for quick cooling.
Yes.
a pre-cooling or a small cold room which has some higher capacity unit, something like that, where you are able to give a initial quick level cooling and then take the product to the back house so that you're able to enhance the product life.
Yeah.
Okay, I was about to finish the session, but I guess it is not only related to transit, but it is also related to farming. If they had done work till 5 to 8 months, but due to some circumstances, it is not the standard of FSSAI, then farmer will be of great loss if company won't compensate the amounts. I think Mr. Jamaluddin, you can directly get in touch with the Sahyadri team because these are specific questions, I think more to do with this. Of course, obviously this is a problem because if they're not able to manage FSSAI, but these are nitty-gritties that they will be able to explain you. Do you have any quick answer to that? He's asking of if it doesn't meet FSSAI standards, then farmer has a great loss. What do you do in that case?
No, actually, see, it happens very rarely because if you take a good care at farm level, so there are very less chances that you will get a bad quality product. Even in India, then we have a different markets. Like if the product fails for export, then we can use it for the different market, like domestic market. But definitely there will not be 100% loss. We have to sort the product and we have to divide the product as per the market. At least means he will not get the price of A grade, but at least B and C grade price at least the farmer can get.
Right. So it's never a complete loss. It's only about gradation, whether it is going into A grade or
weight loss is vary from product to product. Say ripening product like banana and mangoes, weight loss is higher as compared to a regular product like say apple and at all.
Correct.
So we have overall product knowledge. Accordingly, we communicating those to the farmers.
Yeah, true. I remember the whole concept. Incidentally, I was part of an Asian Development Bank team which had come even to Sahyadri for that matter. When we realized that the point is not about wastage; it's more to do with the gradation. So when the product comes in, what kind of grade the product goes in, if you're able to do that and if you're able to give the farmer the rate of their grades rather than for the full pack, obviously he gets a much better benefit out of it. So anyways, that's pretty much besides the point. Our time is up. Our questions, I hope, are over. If there are more questions, they can always be given to the individual people. May I now hand over back to the organizers. Mr. Hari, do you have any last quick comments? You are here.
Yes, actually, it was a good discussion on various industry-related topics. But I would like to add that as a cold chain, we do have a first part that has been heard in the last leg of the discussion, where you had from farm to pack or from the final level delivery. And if we are witnessing kind of transformation from ICE to EV vehicles, small lots from different farmers can have refrigeration solutions that are driven on EVs. So that is also a hope that is coming up. This can also add value. But thanks for moderation, and I have learned a lot from different panels speaking today.
Right. Okay. So from my end, this is more or less it. We have finished on the time, and I hope we've had a good discussion. I have myself had a very interesting time, and the discussion has been very good. Thanks to all our panelists, and I'm handing over back to the organizers.
Thank you so much, Harshal, for a wonderful moderation of this particular session. A very interesting session with a lot of insights. And I'm sure the delegates would have taken a lot of inputs from this entire session. Thank you all the panelists for joining in. Thanks so much. I would also like to thank our gold partner, Tecumseh, and I think thanks, Hari, for coming in and making a presentation. And you also opened up probably a new window for us for having a partner in the next, probably REFCOLD, that is Ola. So probably you're
sure.
vehicle movement going from ICE to EV. So I think, yes, I think they could be your as well as our potential partners in future. So I think, yeah, it was a wonderful session right from the ground level to the, I would say, the last leg. Which it had covered. So very nice inputs, and especially Sahyadri Farms also coming in with that particular video. So the video showed a lot of insights into. I mean, probably for me also it was an eye opener. When I saw that particular video, and it was like visiting their factory itself. So a fantastic job being done by Sahyadri Farms, and I would say all the other logistics companies which are there. And as Harshal said that, yes, we are in India also, we have got state-of-the-art facilities for cold storages at the port level. I would say cold storage level. So yes, that we could see today. And so thank you all. Thanks so much. And to all the delegates who are listening to us now, I think we had 3 fantastic sessions today. The first one started with pharma cold challenges, cold chain challenges. It was again a wonderful session which was there. Then we had the second session on trends and foods in the foods, trends and products in the food sector with respect to commercial and retail sector. Now this was the third one, which is importance of logistics. So we are trying to cover as much as possible, right from the production stage to the last leg of retail as such, right from the products and services to the technologies to the channel partners, consultants, I would say contractors, and whoever are the stakeholders in the entire industry. So thank you to Techum's Emerson, who are our knowledge partner for the day one. Thanks so much for supporting, and gold partner Techum once again. So tomorrow we'll be having another sessions, another 3 tracks which will be there. Our knowledge partner for day 2 is Testo, and the gold partner is Daikin. The track 4 will comprise of refrigeration technology trends in the food processing industry. That will be a track 4, which will start at 11 a.m. Then track 5, we'll be talking about digitalization of industrial refrigeration and cold chain. Again, trying to identify the new trends, which are there. Probably we might get to know about new AI, ML, and many other technologies being implemented there. Then track 6 will consist of success stories of millennial ventures. So there are a lot of youngsters who are actually come into this particular field, startups and other companies who have been successful, and we'll hear from the horse's mouth, how they have been successful in this entire journey. And along with that, we'll also have a product presentation from Daikin. So we look forward to all of you all coming onto the platform tomorrow for enriching and knowledge-based sessions. So thank you so much, and signing off for the day. Just one thing, all those who are not yet visited the exhibition, kindly visit all the stalls which are there, the exhibitor stalls which are there. And in case you have any questions, there is a section for feedback in the platform. You can always share your feedback and connect back with us. So thank you very much. Thanks for all your support. Thanks all the panelists, Mr. Harshal, and even I would say the Dreamcast, who is one of our partner, and I would say that they have been able to kind of give us a seamless experience today. So thank you all. Thank you so much, and bye for the day.
Thank you. Bye.